Hey, everybody. Hey, welcome to this latest episode of Movies Merica. Spoiler warning. As always, I'm your humble host, Van Ebert. And come on in, welcome in, relax your mind, put up your feet, ease your mind. This is a center, a temple of tranquility right here on Movies Merica. Spoiler warning. Unless you forget that this is a spoiler-filled show and I spoil the movie for you, then there will not be a whole lot of tranquility for you. It will be a lot of gnashing of teeth and rending of garments and all of that. So that is your official warning that the show is very spoiler heavy, all right? But before we get into the show too far, we've got some important business to attend to.
In a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad, you'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
All right. Hey, welcome, my movie maniacs and my fellow freedom-fueled film fanatics out there. So the people that are patriots as well as movie fans right there. So, and yes, we're going to be talking about some Novocaine here tonight, the latest Jack Quaid movie. And unfortunately, this is a movie that, yes, it did end up at number one at the box offices last weekend with, I think, like a measly $8 million gross. But it was like the lowest grossing number one movie ever since last year when Argyle took the top spot, I think like in February of 2024 or something like that. So yeah, a lot of people are not going out to the movies at all, okay, for right now for whatever reason. And I think there's a myriad of reasons for that. But yeah, I think it's too bad. It's too bad. I mean, as you heard on my show on Sunday during my Movies Merica live show, I like this movie. Novocaine is a good movie. I liked it. I think it's plenty good enough to head out to the theater and check it out, especially with the fact that it is a reaction-inducing movie. Okay, so like I'm sure we can all remember movies where we went out to the theater and the movie just prompted all kinds of reaction, whether it was or ooh or oh my god, and you're looking around at everybody. Oh, did you see? Did you see that? Oh my god, So stuff that you'll never get sitting on your couch at home watching the TV that you think is the biggest thing you've ever seen in your life, right? So, you may be sitting at home like, I've got my big screen on here. I've got my super sweet sound system. It's all sweet. But you'll never, ever, ever get that communal experience with just a bunch of other people and your family being in the living room, 4 or 5 people, other people in the living room, if that, being in the living room, not the same. All right, it's not the same as being in a theater with hundreds of people in there, all going at the same time. So yeah, not the same whatsoever. So, but nice try, but oh boy, excuse me, I'm getting over like this sickness and all that stuff right now. So I'm been like disturbed. I'm down with the sickness right here. But to that end here, let me give myself a little liquid relief here. Man, I sound so pathetic. See, that's why I can't get too excitable because like most people, when you get excitable, you speak in a way where you're using more breath, right? Using more oxygen or whatever. Hey, I get you talking like this. You start choking. So you have to watch it right here. But hopefully, like by next week, this battle station will be to fully operational status and whatnot instead of playing injured over here. And then on top of that, I'm like, I've got my mind elsewhere. I'm thinking about my Michigan Wolverines, in the first round of March Madness tonight. So, am I allowed to say March Madness? I don't know. Don't care. Tonight. So my mind is kind of like elsewhere and whatnot. So, but I'm trying to stay focused, laser focused on this show. And you guys can help me stay laser focused on the show by getting in the live chat right now. And in the live chat, you guys can get in there and go, hey, Van, you're half-assing it right now. You're slipping. So you need to get your act together right there. And hey, speaking of which, we've got my man, Mr. Scott Awesome, here in the live chat right there. And that's so, I know, isn't that a sign of the times there, Mr. Scott Awesome? Went to the Monkey 2 weeks ago, and it was only me and my friend in the theater right there. I know, it's so sad, isn't it? Just I know it was the same way for me when I saw the Monkey too. It was like me and three other people in their max, which is kind of surreal, isn't it? I don't know how big the theater you were at was there, Mr. Scott Awesome, but the theater I was at, massive. It was because it was the debut weekend for the Monkey, so it got the biggest theater at the location I was at to itself. And I'm walking in, and it had everything that made this movie and its attendance, the movie's attendance, pathetic. Had everything other than a sagebrush or a tumbleweed, tumbling across the theater right there. And that's something that Mr. Scott Awesome, you probably would agree with me, is it's something from the last 5-6 years, right? Particularly after COVID, right? After the pandemic there, where you could go into a big, massive, beautiful theater with brand new seats, brand new sound system, and you are the only one there. So, because great example of this is, so I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I went to this pretty new theater over in the Colony, and I went to go see RRR. That was probably the first problem. Definitely a movie that doesn't have Marvel or DC attached to it. So that's its first handicap. People aren't going to go see it if it doesn't have Marvel or DC or Star Wars. It's not Star Trek or Star Wars or Marvel or DC. I'm not going to go see the movie. So it being RRR and not having any of that attached to it to kind of help it get some attendance was the first problem there. And so with this pretty new whole movie theater and this whole new complex, at this big entertainment complex that they created over in the Colony, and walking through this theater, through the halls of the theater, I'm like walking around, wow, oh my, look at this nice brand new theaters. Oh my God, I could do a white glove inspection in here and not a speck of dust would be anywhere. It's just got that new movie theater smell. And then I walk into the actual theater itself, and it's this big, massive theater. It's like, wow, screen's massive. All the seats are brand new, and there's a shitload of them. And I walk in, and I got there probably 25 minutes after the movie time because I didn't want to sit through all the previews and trailer or commercials, all that crap. And I walk in, and it's just me in the theater. And that's the way it stayed for the whole 3 hours of the movie. I sat right in the middle. I mean, I think I even did the calculation. I walked in the theater, and I walked to my assigned seat, sat there for about 5 minutes. I was like, forget this, man. Ain't no one showing up here. The movie's starting right now. And so I did the visual calculation, where's the center seat of the theater? And oh, there it is. It's right there. There you go. Okay. And so walked there, and I was sitting in the very center seat of the theater, and periodically throughout the movie, I'd be like, anybody showing up here? Anybody here? Anybody here? No, still no. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, so it was so fucking pathetic. So sad. All right. So it was a sad sign of our supposedly more progressive and enlightened times. Okay. There, but at the same time, though, it was kind of cool. It's like, oh, this is my own screening room right here. I can pretend I'm a gazillionaire, and this is my screening room right here. I got this whole big theater to myself. But I did kind of feel like Howard Hughes a little bit, kind of be all secluded by myself, with no one else there. And I wasn't pissing into jars or anything like that. I didn't do that. Not at all. But anyway, Mr. Scott says, it's man, come on, Rumble Studio. Get your act together. Let's go. Go, 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 go. What is going on here? This is nuts. Rumble Studios not really growing on me whatsoever. That one's showing, that one's showing, that one will not show. That is awesome. It's just trying to show a chat. I was able to a minute ago. There we go. Wow, you Rumble Studio, you piece of shit. Jeez. There you go. What the hell? And live chat. There we go. There we go. My God. Anyway, okay. Anyway, you guys don't want to hear about that anymore or whatnot. But so let's get into some Novocaine right there now that I'm done with my rant. And so with Novocaine, when it comes to ordinary, unassuming guys getting thrust into extraordinary, action-packed ordeals, movies like that where that's kind of the basis or that's the plot. I prefer instances like James McAvoy as Wesley in Wanted. Remember that movie came out in 2008. It had James McAvoy, Angelina Jolie, Morgan Freeman. Great movie. Fantastic action movie. Or I prefer Christian Slater as Clarence in True Romance. I prefer both of those characters in both of those movies more than Jack Quaid's Nathaniel in this movie. Plus, really, Nathaniel is just Huey, his character from The Boys in Novocaine. But in Novocaine, he works at a bank and can't feel pain. So, pardon me. But I liked McAvoy's and Slater's character arcs better too, particularly Slater's. So, I mean, True Romance, it's like an example of a movie crime, okay? It's a crime because it wasn't seen that much and appreciated by more people when it came out in theaters, all right? But that's another topic for another time. I could do a whole Movies Merica episode all about what a crime it was that True Romance wasn't a bigger hit at the movie theaters right there. But again, it's the title probably threw people off right there. It's an original movie. It was written by Quentin Tarantino, and it takes work, right? It takes work to I guess back then it was before the internet, so probably harder than I'll give the public a harder or I'll give them an excuse. It's not like today where you see a movie you're thinking about going to and you're like, man, do I take the chance? I don't know if the movie's going to be any good. I mean, it's PG-13, but I don't know if it's good. I could take my wife or I take my husband and maybe a couple of our kids. It's PG-13, but man, how am I to know if the movie is good? And back in 1993, when True Romance came out, you really couldn't. There really was no way to see if it was good. Now people don't have any excuse. You have zero excuse for not doing the work to see if the movie is good and worth your time to take, your husband, wife, kids, all that stuff to it. Okay. And by work, I mean a few mouse clicks on a website like, Critic Lists or Letterboxd or Rotten Tomatoes. And when I say Rotten Tomatoes, I don't mean look at the critic score. I mean look at the audience score, right? Or Metacritic. There's a number of websites you could go to. So IMDb, Metacritic, Letterboxd, Critic Lists, Rotten Tomatoes, look at the audience score to see, oh man, these people are raving about this movie, or oh my God, these people all hate this movie. Yeah, I'm not going to that movie. Okay. And so, back in 1993, you didn't have that. But now you do in spades. And so when I hear people get on X or some other social media and they say, I didn't want to go see Novocaine because it looks like some dumb dude just like getting attacked and he can't feel pain, and it's like, first off, there's your short bus, retard. There, where your simple thoughts from a simple mind, right there, right, where you think you've got a movie completely figured out from looking at the trailer and whatnot. So you don't even bother to go to Metacritic or some other site to go see, hey, are people loving this? Is this a good movie? And then going and seeing the movie yourself, instead of believing your self-ascribed genius that you've bestowed upon yourself, okay, and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, so that's why I don't take it easy on people that 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 complain about there's nothing original coming out of theaters while at the same time not going out and seeing anything original, even after they look and they see, oh, the movie's good. The audiences are raving about this, and they still don't go see the original movie. But then out of the other corner of their mouth, they're like, why doesn't anything original come out in the theaters anymore? So, yeah. So now I give you no quarter whatsoever. Now, for those people that are like, I don't care if anything original comes out of theaters. I'm not going into theaters anyway. I'm a streaming groupie, baby. All right. And so them not going to an original movie in the theater, I don't cast any judgment on them because they're not they're I don't know what's the word. They're not contradicting themselves, but at the same time saying, oh, why isn't anything original coming out in the theaters and all that stuff? So, but anyway, I think I've beat that dead horse to death right there. So that I beat that horse to death so hard its horseshoes are popping off right now. So, but yeah. So again, True Romance. It's a crime that it wasn't seen more when it came out. But I do like back to the character arc of a character that's just this ordinary, unassuming guy. I liked how Christian Slater's Clarence went from a lowly, sad comic book store employee, hitting on skanks and, in dive bars, to becoming like this take charge, happily married, charismatic man of action over the course of the movie. Okay. Because he's working at this comic book store. Patricia Arquette, runs into him at the movie theater. He's watching some Sony Chiba movies, and then they fall in love and they get married. And I guess that was like Clarence's spinach, like Popeye spinach to Clarence. Like, oh no, I've got this charisma. It's kind of funny how the love of a good woman will do that to a man, right? Because it kind of gives you that turbocharge, right? Because it gives you that nitro boost. And that's what happens with Christian Slater's Clarence in True Romance. And so before long, yeah, he's taking charge and giving a game plan to his buddy Dick Ritchie in Hollywood. And he's cooking up a plot with Elliot Blitzer, Bronson Pinchot's character there, and then he's putting together this deal with this big Hollywood producer, and he's shaking down Elliot to make sure that he's not a cop. All these things, I mean, that Clarence at the beginning of the movie would have never done. He would have just wanted to kind of just curl up in the fetal position and read comic books at the beginning of the movie. But now he's this big take charge kind of guy, and I like that. Towards the end of the movie, and so I like that character arc right there. And now, of course, Clarence in that movie, he had some help, from his imaginary friend Elvis the whole time there. And of course, Elvis was played by Val Kilmer in that movie right there. So, all right, let's do this here real quick. Well, first off, allow me to take a little drinky over here before I do something else. Oh, yeah. All right. But right now, yeah, what I would ask you to do here, if you would, if you are still liking the show, this episode, even after my ranting, and God bless you, sir and madam, if you do, is hit the like button down there. All right, just pummel that like button down there. It costs you absolutely nothing to do that right there. And then also, while you're down there clicking on buttons right there, hit the old subscribe or follow button also down there. Okay, if you haven't already. If you already have, don't click it again. All right, so because you'll unsubscribe or unfollow, and then also hit that tantalizing notification bell down there, which if you click on it, then it will notify you when there's a scintillating, seductive, brand new, exciting episode of Movies Merica waiting just for you in the bedroom. I don't know. Did I sell that pretty well? Are you compelled to hit the notification bell right there? So very good, very good. All right, excellent. All right, I like that. And then also, if you don't happen to be watching right now and you can't live chat with me because you didn't watch the episode live, well, hey, that's cool. I know people got things to do. You know, you're making pasta, you're changing a tire, you're spending time with your children. Oh God, what a loser! You're doing some of that where you can't watch the show live, right? But you can still communicate with me, and I can communicate with you via the comments section down below. So get in the comments section down below, and let me know, what do you think of the episode? Do you think I'm stinking up the joint, or do you think like man, this guy is awesome. He's got this down. He's got this particular set of skills like Liam Neeson and Taken over here, man. I tell you, I sure feel bad for those scumbags later on in the movie that Van's going to take out right there. So yeah, but yeah, or you can let me know of a movie that you want me to review. All I ask, pretty please, with sugar on top, make sure it's not a movie that only you and like two French dudes and one guy that lives in Albania are into. Like, make sure it's a movie that you're pretty confident that other people are going to want to see reviewed and that kind of thing. That's all I ask. I'm a simple man with simple requests right there. That's all I ask right there. So there you go right there. All right, let's see if I'm going to try this here real quick and see if Rumble Studio can actually handle this. Here we go. Put that up there. And all right, let's get up in here. And there we go. All right. Wow, something works up in here. Okay, there you go. But yeah, let's get into some more Novocaine, shall we? And now, did anybody else notice that all the police vehicles in Novocaine are just like old cars from the 80s and 90s? All right. Like, the police cars are like 80s era Ford Tauruses, and then there's like a 90s era Chevy Suburban police SUV. And this is not a movie that's advertised as taking place back in the 80s or 90s. It's not like, Captain Marvel or something like that, where that's a movie that was advertised as taking place in the 90s, or Wonder Woman 1984, or nothing like that. This is just supposed to be like a contemporary movie. I mean, they're using smartphones and stuff, and modern amenities, that kind of thing. But the cars are old. So I'm like, all right. But I mean, it just kind of makes you wonder, like, how low was that budget right there? Now, and like I said, this wasn't set back, back in the day in the 80s and the 90s and all that. So all I can chalk this up to is that they were just doing anything to keep the budget down. All right. And I just thought it was weird that the cop cars in a movie from 2025 looked a lot like the cop cars in RoboCop from 1987. Okay, because if you remember the cop cars in RoboCop, they're like these black, like these matte finish, like Ford Tauruses there. So, and that movie came out in 1987, and here we have a movie from 2025 using vehicles from 1987 in it as well. So, but I know it's probably just something that I'm mildly intrigued by, and absolutely nobody else is. But speaking of 1987, that's when the movie Inner Space came out, and that's a movie that Jack Quaid's parents, Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan, met on. And Jack said he has mixed feelings about that movie Inner Space because, again, it's where his parents met, and Martin Short's character in Inner Space, his name is Jack, just like Jack Quaid right there. So, and that's the thing, though, is like, if that movie had never been made, then, well, Jack Quaid would have never been made right there. So, but let me do this. I'm going to see if I can find maybe a picture let's see here. Let's do this. Inner space. Dennis Quaid. You wanna take my picture? All right, let's see here. And let's see if we get there. We go. There we go, man. Yeah, there we go. I like this. Yeah, so we got let's do this. Let's click in there. Hopefully this website won't give me a virus. There we go. All right, so let's do this. I'm gonna stop sharing that. Let's do this. There we go. And let's try this over here. And oh, no, let's go there. There we go. Let's share that here. Yeah, so there we go. We got young Dennis Quaid and Meg Ryan and Martin Short there in 1987. Obviously, way before Jack Quaid was made in here and whatnot. So, but Inner Space, that is my hands down favorite Dennis Quaid movie where he plays Tuck Pendleton here and gets shrunk down and injected into basically into Martin Short's ass right there. And Meg Ryan plays Dennis Quaid's, on and on again, off again girlfriend in Inner Space right there. So, but yeah, that's kind of like a little useless trivia about Jack Quaid and his history right there. But and I also read recently that Jack Quaid hadn't even watched his mom's movie When Harry Met Sally. Okay, and at first I was like, how can you not have watched your mom's classic movie When Harry Met Sally with her and Billy Crystal and the late great Bruno Kirby and the late great Carrie Fisher was in it as well, which is kind of creepy because Bruno Kirby and Carrie Fisher, they played a couple in that movie, and that couple is gone now. So very, very morbid. But yeah, Jack Quaid, he said that, since it has his mom acting out the most famous orgasm scene in history, he wasn't exactly in a hurry to watch it. And then when he explained it like that, I'm like, gotcha. Yep. Okay. I feel you, dog. Yeah, I wouldn't want to watch that movie anyways right there. Okay. That's be a little, not be a little, be a lot weird right there. Be a little uncomfortable there. So a little dicey. However, he finally did watch When Harry Met Sally, and he said he cried after it because he thought his mom was incredible in it. And then he called her right after, her being Meg Ryan, of course. And her response was that she'd actually only seen the movie once herself. Okay. So, which, that's atypical for a lot of actors out there. A lot of times they don't want to watch their own work. They can't stomach watching their own work. And so so I don't know, that's maybe a sign of humility, or, maybe they're just not very confident in their performance or whatever. So, but yeah, it's kind of, I thought it was kind of interesting that, yeah, she's only seen a movie once herself right there. But who knew? Who knew there? All right. So, all right. So right now here, let me just see this right here. Good. Mr. Scott also says, I did appreciate the Monkees nostalgia peppered throughout the movie there. So are you talking about the movie The Monkey, like how it had nostalgia peppered throughout that movie there? Because the movie The Monkey, it did have a nostalgic soundtrack. It definitely had like some nostalgic tracks in there. It had like a Little Richard song in there, and then it had a who's that guy? Sam Cooke. It had a Sam Cooke song over the end credits there, and yeah, it had like a number of kind of nostalgic tunes from way back there. Kind of not to the sheer quantity of like a James Gunn movie or anything like that, or to the quantity of like the Forrest Gump soundtrack, but yeah, it was nostalgic in that way. And then also in that movie, I think like The Monkey kind of did have that throwback vibe to it there. So, but yeah, The Monkey is a great movie. Definitely check that movie out. And yeah, and predictably, I mean, the way it goes now, it's like you have a movie in the theaters because The Monkey came out. The Monkey came out like in like maybe 2-3 weeks ago, and I feel like when I'm talking, I'm all stuffed up there. So hopefully, I'm coming through to you guys loud and clear. You guys understand what I'm saying. But yeah, The Monkey came out like 2, 3, maybe even a month ago. And of course, it's already on streaming. So it's just, Hollywood's campaign, like their frenzied, ferocious campaign to absolutely take a stake and drive it right in the heart of movie theaters right there. Because and I kind of can't, people are just like, hey, well, why should I go to the theater? The movie is released. The movie's opening today, and 5 minutes later, it's on streaming. So yeah, you could check out The Monkey on streaming there, and it's worth checking out. I think it's great because to me it's a perfect blend of not really scary. I didn't really find it scary, but the perfect blend of like gore and funniness and that kind of thing. And so it's absolutely, it's a very, very entertaining movie. And it's kind of funny because we also had another movie called Heart Eyes that came out on Valentine's Day weekend, where it was another great mixture of funny, ha and a romantic comedy and horror. So it kind of it blended, romantic comedy and horror. So that was Hard Eyes, and then The Monkey just did a great job at mixing comedy and gore, kind of like the perfect mix of peanut butter and chocolate to make a delicious chocolatey melty Reese's peanut butter cup or something like that. So right. There you go. But right now, typically what I would do is I would do some brew review time right here. And I know you guys are probably getting sick of me hearing me say this. It's like, hey, okay, we get it. You're not doing any brew review time and all that. I get it, for people that have seen the show repeatedly, that kind of thing. But, you're going to get some relief here very, very soon because brew review time will be coming back. You know what? I'm just going to put it up next. Let's do not this Sunday, a week from this Sunday. Brew review time will be coming back with a vengeance right there. But for right now, I can't do it because I can't drink thanks to this 75 hard, physical and mental workout thing that I'm on right now there. So, but what I can do is I can tantalize you with some merch right here. Yeah, some sweet, sweet merch that I can turn you on to. And as you see, we've got like a Movies Merica t-shirt down there, the other way. There you go. At the bottom corner there. And you can get the Movies Merica t-shirt in other colors other than black right there if you're somebody with a sunnier disposition than I, and you want to give it in pink or something like that, or blue or something like that, you can definitely do that. And then we have a lot more than just t-shirts with Movies Merica on it. We got shot glasses and pint glasses, and we've got yoga pants and phone cases and all kinds of goodies there for merch. And the way to see what merch we have available is just click on the merch link down in the description right there. Very easy. And then you'll be able to check out all the great stuff there in the merch store with Movies Merica emblazoned right on it there. So, and then once you get all the goodies you want into the shopping cart, then make sure to put the promo code MOVIES. Pay no mind to the whiskey down there. That overlay is wrong. But that's going to get corrected here, hopefully sometime soon. But yeah, use the promo code MOVIES instead. The promo code MOVIES to get free shipping on all that great Movies Merica merch that you put in the shopping cart right there. So there you go. Check that out. And I got rid of too much stuff. Let's get rid of that. And there we go. All right. Now we're talking. I didn't have that up the whole time, probably. Whoops. And let's get back here to the live chat right there. And Mr. Scott Awesome is, it's like if the Royal Tenenbaums was a comedy horror film. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. And, hey, it's shout out to the late, great Gene Hackman that was in the Royal, or who was in the Royal Tenenbaums right there. So it's kind of weird. I mean, in Mr. Scott Awesome, I'm sure that you might have a thought or two about this. It's kind of weird, like where you've got this legendary actor, Gene Hackman, that has been in so many movies that we think of, right? The French Connection and Bonnie and Clyde and, The Conversation, Superman. He was in Uncommon Valor and The Firm and Crimson Tide and Bat 2-1 and what was that? The Package and also, then he was also in Enemy of the States and all these great movies here. Just a classic, The Birdcage and then like the Royal Tenenbaums and all these movies. A legendary actor. Thinking of what? What's the Quick and the Dead? Another great movie with him in it. There. Oh, I can't forget his Oscar-winning performance, or one of his Oscar-winning performances in Unforgiven. Just a legend. There. I mean, I grew up with Gene Hackman in all these movies right there. Mississippi Burning, another one. And then just to see his life just end unceremoniously like that, where if you read up on the circumstances of his death and the death of his wife and the death of one of their dogs, you read up on the circumstances and what they've found out. Because, when it first happened, we didn't know anything, right? We just knew he was dead. Now, a few weeks later, they have found out a whole lot more stuff and have revealed it. And yeah, it's just a very unceremonious, very undistinguished, way to go. Not that you're like, you know what? Hey, everybody, remind me when I die to make sure it's very distinguished and prestigious and very, just a very respectable, respectable affair. Will everyone remind me to make sure that when I die, that's how I go out? Like, I know people don't do that, but it's just the circumstances that it's just the way it went down. It was just kind of surreal. But obviously, yeah, actors are not who they are on the big screen. But you can't help but your mind kind of goes that place, that fantasy place, right? So, but where you're like, oh man, there's like this legendary character in real life too, just like they are on the screen. No. I think social media of all things has shown us that that's not the truth. Okay, so it was easier to put celebrities like movie stars up on a pedestal back in 1989, right? Before there was social media, because you just saw a lot of actors. You'd see them like on, in People Magazine and Us Weekly, and you'd see them at award shows, and that kind of thing. And you didn't hear anything else about them. So you were left to your own assumptions and devices and thinking like, wow, these people, they're not only just these really cool, charismatic characters on the movie screen. I bet they're just like that in real life. Oh, yeah. And then social media came out, and everybody found out, like, oh, my God, if I lived on the same block with these guys and a bunch of other families, they quite possibly would be the dumbest, most moronic person on the block. Oh, right there. So, Mark Ruffalo. There you go. All right, so let's do this here real quick. I told you about the Moich, and I'm going to tell you more about some Novocaine there, as my old brain couldn't remember what movie we were talking about here. But first, let me get some brain juice. And hey, that's my cue to remind you that yeah, it's Thirsty Thursday. All right, go ahead and toss back whatever you're drinking here. So it's almost the weekend. It's pre-Friday, so let's stick to that. Oh, yeah. There we go, everybody. And let's move it right along. We've got business to attend to. All right. And so we got some more Novocaine. Let me do this here real quick. I am going to increase the piece. No, not increase the piece. I'm not John Singleton from Higher Learning. I am just a blind guy that needs to focus here. There we go. So, but I have like little notes here, as you probably, I'm sure you guys could guess as I'm going through this to kind of keep me on track and all that stuff. That's a little how the sausage is made here on Movies Merica. Spoiler warning right there. And believe me, it's delicious, juicy sausage, not Jimmy Dean sausage. It's Movies Merica sausage. All right, it's not that kind of show. All right, there we go. I do try to keep it clean for the kiddies at least a little bit, but every once in a while a curse word comes out. But anyway, no revealing of sausage. Okay, on this show, not at all. All right. Anyway, But yeah, since it's part of the main gimmick of this movie, Novocaine doesn't hold back on the gory glory you see with all of Nathaniel's injuries that he can't feel. Now, even though he can't feel, he can see how awful they are, and so can we, right? I mean, you get a burnt to a crisp hand in a deep fryer. You've got Nathaniel's fingernails getting pulled out. You get a bone snapped out of an arm, and then that bone is later used as a killing weapon there. You get a bullet dug out with some needle nose pliers, if I remember correctly. And you just see those pliers going into the flesh and pulling out the round. Nasty, nasty. And that was, of course, those were the scenes where I was hearing people go, ugh, you're like simultaneously in the theater, okay? And then just so much more carnage candy other than that right there. And it doesn't hit as hard though because it's part of a comedy, right? It's a lot like the gore in a comedy like Hot Fuzz, right? I mean, at Hot Fuzz, you had Simon Pegg, and he was in there and he was like investigating along with Nick Frost, these murders up in this town in the UK, and the murders are all like gory and whatnot. I'm like, you get a dude who gets like part of a stone church like crashing down into his head, and the top of his body is like turns it into raspberry jam, right? So well, probably more like boysenberry jam, but anyway, but I digress there. So, but you get gore like that in Hot Fuzz, but because it's part of this wacky comedy, kind of made as a love letter to action movies, it doesn't hit as hard, right? That it takes the edge off it a little bit. Now, if you watch a movie like Long Legs or something like that from last year, or The Exorcist, or something that's really trying very seriously and in a very dark way to be a horror movie, then yeah, the violence definitely hits you harder in those kind of movies. But this is one reason you could do a whole lot worse than Novocaine for a great date movie that just might get your date jumping in your lap. And, ladies, if you ask him politely, he might just get off your lap. You just have to ask him very politely, ladies, there. So it's just understandable. And I had enough people in the theater with me so that, yeah, when, some of the sickening violence was up on the screen, yeah, you would hear, audible gasp and, and, like, people like trying to hold their supper down and that kind of thing. So, but that's one thing I'll miss, when movie theaters go the way of the dinosaur, kind of like I was talking about before, because people just don't go again to movie theaters for a number of reasons, and that's again just that community experience you just don't get at home. You could buy the biggest, the most high tech, latest, model of the highest end TV imaginable and get the top of the line tippy top sound system at home. Doesn't matter. It just does not. It will never, ever, ever mimic the community experience that you get. Because I know I've watched movies at home by myself, and it's a movie I've never seen before, and it's like a movie where like, oh my god, it's got all these like these reaction inducing moments and sights and that kind of thing. And it sucks because you're like, you kind of want to look around and go, oh my god, you see that? Holy wow, that kind of thing. But you can't, because you're like Eric Carmen, you're all by myself. So just crying your lonely tears like a loser. Okay, but you could be a winner by watching the movie at a theater with other people, unless you're like at the theater that Mr. Scott Awesome was at, where there was him and two other people. There you go. But if we could all collectively like go to theaters again, and also you could watch movies on streaming. I'm not one of those guys that are saying, hey, let's keep theaters alive and let's kill streaming. Okay, I don't have the same mentality that the people that only want to watch movies on streaming have towards theaters. Okay, they're like, I only want to watch movies on streaming, and if theaters die, so be it. I don't have that same mentality going the other way. I'm like, hey, I want theaters to stay around, and if streaming sticks around, I don't care. It could go the way of the Velociraptor. I don't know. I want movie theaters to be around, and I would like to have streaming around as well. Okay, because sometimes you just can't get to the theater, and so you want that streaming as another option, that kind of thing. So, but it doesn't help that you're able to watch Novocaine. You'll be able to watch Novocaine in about 10 minutes on streaming there. So, and that's all part of Hollywood's attempt to just send movie theaters, to the ultimate never-ending dirt nap right there. They want the movie theaters to, go the way of Luca Brasi and and it's Sleeping with the Fishes and all that stuff right there. So there you go. All right, let's double check here. I want to make sure I got everything good to go here. And let me take care of something real quick, and because I want to get this going here, and I want to spread the wide, because the Boyd is not the Wade. No apologies to Peter Griffin from Family Guy right there, but I want to make sure I'm doing something here. There we go. And speak amongst yourselves there, right? There you go. I'll give you a topic. American hockey teams are better than Canadian hockey teams. Discuss. There you go. All right. And maybe you can hear my expert typing. All right. Copy and paste. There we go. Just taking care of a little maintenance, little housekeeping here. I love that. Like we're just staying at a hotel. And you're just sitting there, you're getting ready, and all of a sudden you hear, housekeeping. Hola, housekeeping. How you doing? And I'm not being racist with that accent. I have had a cleaning lady sound exactly like that. So that is a spot-on accent right there. And I'm all about realism. I am all about the realism right there. Absolutely. All right. Getting stuff done. All right. There we go. And let's get back on track, everybody. I appreciate you guys bearing with me here as I take care of a little business right there. I got a little business I had to attend to. Absolutely there. So right now, what I want to tell you about, though, is, of course, with the show this awesome, of course, you're probably going to be like, well, this show that is this awesome and this fantastic has to have a sponsor of some sort. And you would be correct. You would be absolutely correct right there. Your know-how has not failed you again. You would know, you would find out, you would know that that is true, that we do have a great sponsor, and that sponsor is Flip City Magazine. And so Flip City Magazine, I shall tell you what that is. That is a magazine that is designed to make you giggle, to make you laugh, okay? Designed to just sweetly and lovingly massage that funny bone of yours, okay? And it's like Mad Magazine and Cracked were back in the day, where you could flip open Mad Magazine or Crack Magazine, and you could 9.7% out of 10 times depend on getting yourself a good laugh right there. But unfortunately, with Mad Magazine and Crack Magazine now, pretty much 10 out of 10 times, you're not going to get any laughs. All right. No, you're going to get a good lesson in how to live a good woke lifestyle. You young man. All right. You need to live more woke. Okay. You're going to get that instead of, getting your funny bone lovingly massaged right there. But you know what? Hey, there is a replacement. Okay. A more worthy replacement, and that is Flip City Magazine. So check that out. But you know what? Let's tantalize you further by hearing directly from the Flip City experts.
I love Flip City. It has brought new types of badassery and integrity to the print medium.
Genuinely cutting, but also funny, and obviously just chaotic and very fun.
All right, so there you go. That should have got your juices of desire all all fired up and whatnot. So those neurons in your brain fired up to grab yourself some Flip City magazine. And so we're making it very easy for you to feed that ferocious desire that you have now to subscribe to Flip City magazine by putting a Flip City link in the description down below. All right, so and you can just click on that Flip City link in the description, and if you put in promo code movies, you're going to get 10% off your order of the best non-woke comic around. All right, so and it's got comics, and I would call it the best non-woke magazine around. Okay, and to show you what I mean, let me grab one of my issues of Flip City right there. See, there you go. And it's got some artwork, some animation, or some art. Let's try that again. Some artwork on the cover there. Okay, but it's more than just cartoons. We got articles. Hell, you got drink recipes there, and you got some good articles. We've got some good pictures of a Trump. There you go. And let's see, you got articles, and I think you got a good interview in this with Nerd Roddick. And here we all like Nerd Roddick there from Friday Night Tights and all that stuff. So he's a Nerd Roddick, always spitting truth out there. There you go. There's Gary. Oh, Gary. Oh, there we go. I like that. Yeah. Statler and Waldorf right there. Hey, Van, you call that a Movies Merica episode? You suck. There you go. Yeah, who doesn't love Statler and Waldorf from the Muppet Show back in the day? But all that to say is, yes, get your hands on some Flip City magazine, everybody, right there. You will not be sorry. And you know what? Hey, if you already have a subscription and you're not a selfish person and you're a gift-giving person, hey, you can give a gift subscription to somebody and give the gift of Flip City. Give the gift of giggle. There you go. So, and man, that throat is killing me. All right, as AOC would say, but she would say that for a different reason. But yeah, let me try to wet that whistle. There we go. I'm gonna have to call it an early one here tonight, man, because that throat is not helping me out right there. So, and there you go. Sorry to quote Kamala Harris. All right, let's double check here real quick, and all right, let's do some house cleaning and all right, do some housekeeping. Housekeeping. Do you want to check out early? Okay. All right, let's do this. Right now, we have made it. We have made it, everybody, to my favorite segment of every Movies Merica spoiler warning show. And as you know, if you have watched episodes before Movies Merica spoiler warning, well, hell, of course, you know that my favorite episode is one of the military persuasion. They're one of service and patriotism and all of that stuff right there. Okay. And it's one that I call the movie military moment. It's a great one to check out there. And like with every great segment, it's got to have its own intro. Oh, right. And so I suppose I should probably explain what the movie Military Moment is and what the segment's all about, and what in God's name does the military have to do with movies? Come on, Van. I think you're reaching a little bit. All right, you're reaching. No. When I explain this, you'll understand. Okay, you and I will come to an understanding. And so the connection between the military and movies is, well, I should say, so what this boils down to, this segment boils down to, is I like to pay tribute to someone that has been awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, soldier, an airman, a petty officer, whatever, a sailor that has been awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, right? And so, as you would imagine, if you are awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, you don't get that for being the best booger picker on the base, or being the best letter sorter, on the Naval Air Station, or kissing the right amount of well, you might get it for that, but no, I'm kidding. So no, you get awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor because you did something selfless, something amazing, something just mind-boggling, like something your eyes don't believe when you watch it. If you were to watch what they did to win the Congressional Medal of Honor on a big screen. All right, if you saw what they did to earn that medal on a big screen, it would be an incredible movie military moment. And that's the connection right there. That's how I rationalize doing this segment. You're probably like, it's still pretty thin there, Van. You're reaching. You're reaching there, Van. You're reaching. All right. You're very suspect. Okay. All right. But you know what? Hey, that may be so. And it may be so for a number of reasons right there. But not for this reason here. And because I'm doing it for a good cause, right? I'm doing it for a good cause here. I am paying tribute to a veteran, okay, that has fought valiantly for you and for me and for this country here. And so the veteran for tonight that we will be paying tribute to is Staff Sergeant Edward N. Kaneshiro. And hopefully I am saying his name correctly to pay proper respect to the Staff Sergeant right there. But so I'm going to read the citation that describes what the Staff Sergeant did to earn himself the Congressional Medal of Honor. And this one is it's a long one. Don't mean to quote AOC again. But this is a long one. It's a long citation, so I probably be better. Yeah, grab myself another swig of this. Oh, yeah. Some lube for the tube. Anyway, all right. So I think that Staff Sergeant Kaneshiro deserves his own music right here, and I apologize if the music is too loud. I still haven't figured out how to adjust the volume for the music here, so hopefully I don't sound like a little mouse whisperer compared to the music, but we shall see. So here we go with the movie Military Moment music. This is movie Military Moment. And in this movie Military Moment, I will pay tribute to Edward Kaneshiro, who fought in the Vietnam War. Let's find out more about what he did to be awarded the Medal of Honor. That's Sergeant Edward Kaneshiro. Gallantry and the Vietnam. We are fall of the Possibility. Stop it. There we go. Until I can get that figured out, we're stopping that. So Staff Sergeant Kaneshiro moved with his men to the sounds of the fire, swiftly reading the situation, seeing that the fire from the trench had to be stopped if anyone was to survive. He first deployed his men to cover, then crawled forward. Sorry about that. Jeez. Then crawled forward to attack the enemy force alone. He began by throwing grenades from the parapet while flattened to the ground, successfully throwing the first grenade through the aperture of the bunker, eliminating the machine gunner who had opened the action. With 5 grenades remaining and his rifle to sustain his assault, Staff Sergeant Kaneshiro jumped into the trench to sweep its length, where it fronted the 2 pinned squads. Over the distance of about 35 meters, he worked the ditch alone, destroying 1 enemy group with rifle fire and two others with grenades. By the end of his sweep, the able-bodied survivors of the 2 squads were again standing and preparing to move the dead and wounded. Staff Sergeant Kaneshiro's actions enabled the orderly extrication and reorganization of the platoon, which ultimately led to a successful withdrawal from the village. Staff Sergeant Kaneshiro's conspicuous gallantry and uncommon heroism under fire were in keeping with the highest traditions of the military service and reflect great credit upon himself, his unit, and the United States Army. And we salute you, Staff Sergeant Edward and Kaneshiro, for your service to our country right there. All right, so there we go. That's a great citation that showed, man, all the stuff that the good Staff Sergeant did to earn that Congressional Medal of Honor. And again, every single time I read those, I'm sure I'm not the only one who asks himself, like, what did I do with my day compared to what the Staff Sergeant did to earn that Congressional Medal of Honor? Yeah, I feel pretty lazy right now. Very, very lazy, all right? But on that lazy note, let's wrap up this movie, Military Moment. Alrighty, okie dokie, doggy daddy. We are going to move on with the show here, and let me do that by just reminding you that, hey, if you are digging if you're picking up what I'm putting down, you're digging what I'm doing enough to throw a little cash my way, maybe a buck or two or whatever, well, you most certainly can do that. And I'm going to give you a couple of ways you can do that. Very, very, very simple ways that even I can figure out. Okay, and the way that you can do that, if you're on Rumble, is you can give me what's called a Rumble rant, okay? Very, very easy, okay? So all you have to do is down by where you type in your live stream, your live chat message down there, okay, as I hack to death, you just have to click on the button with a $sign on it, and then it'll just ask you how much you want to donate, and that's it. So simple, okay? And if you're checking me out on the tube of views, or more commonly known as YouTube, you can give me what they call a super chat. And that works very similarly as it does on Rumble. So down where you type in your live chat message there, just look for a button with a dollar bill on it. And when you click on that, it's just going to ask you how much you want to donate. That's it. Very simple, very easy, okay? But that's only if you feel like doing that right there, because I can't always afford to throw some money towards a show that I'm watching there, or maybe sometimes a show just plain isn't worthy of it. And that might be how you feel about this show as you're watching it live. You're like, this show, he ought to be paying me a couple bucks to watch this show, right? I sure as hell ain't giving him a couple bucks, right? So you may be feeling that way right there, and that's probably the fact that I'm under the weather. That's the excuse I'm going to give myself, is I'm under the weather. I'm kind of feeling half-assed tonight and all that stuff. So you're not getting my best. You're not getting the best. All right. So there you go. There you go. It's like the Eagles. You're not getting the best of my love. All right. There you go. But all right, enough begging for money out of me right there. And I think I'm gonna wrap it up early tonight, because I'm feeling like scrambled dog shit right now. So I do appreciate you guys putting up with me playing injured tonight and that kind of thing. And it's that season, right? I think I keep hearing stories of people coming down with this sickness and that kind of thing. And it better not be those damn Chinese, throwing another virus our way and whatnot. So better not be that. All right, so I don't know what Wuhan has been up to lately, but I got my eyes on you, China. I got my eyes on you. There you go. But real quick here, the movie that I will be reviewing next week is it's gonna be a retro review week on Movies Merica, okay? And that's because I'm gonna be retro reviewing John Wick. Yes, there. I'm gonna be going over the what do they call them? What the hell is that? The I was say the Boo Baba. The Gooba Yaba. Apparently, it's been way too long since I've seen the Baba Yaga. There we go. There, Baba Yaga. That's what it is. There. So, yeah, it's apparently been too long since I've watched John Wick. So I do need to review it. So I have that excuse to watch John Wick there, and I need to catch up a little bit on that. And next week, you will get to catch up on John Wick as well, as I do a way too late review of John Wick, because my excuse is John Wick came out before I started doing this show. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it right there. So yeah. So Sunday on my spoiler-free Movies America live show, I will do my review of John Wick. Okay. And so that show on Sunday comes out at 4 Eastern p.m., 3 Central, 2 Mountain, and 1 p.m. Pacific. Okay, and that's on Rumble and YouTube. Okay, so you'll be able to jump on Rumble or YouTube, and you'll see the show's going to be out there ready for you to watch. So usually the links show up on Rumble and YouTube, show up like early Sunday morning, or you can go to my X page under @MoviesMerica or Facebook under @MoviesMerica. You'll find the links to the episode there. So again, that's my Movies America live show all about John Wick this Sunday afternoon. And then, of course, a week from tonight's the Movies America spoiler warning will be the spoiler heavy discussion and autopsy and deep dive on John Wick. Okay. And I know a lot of people have seen John Wick. Okay. I mean, so many people saw John Wick, they created a John Wick cinematic universe. All right, they got 4 of those bad boys out now, and they're just coming out with a spinoff movie, Ballerina, with Ana de Armas, coming out here pretty soon. They did a TV series that about 3 people watched called The Continental, but it was part of the John Wick cinematic universe right there. So the first John Wick movie was a surprise hit for everybody, and particularly Keanu Reeves. I'm sure Keanu Reeves like, I need a hit. I need something to revive my career. And John Wick most certainly did that right there. So I will be going over that next Thursday, and that comes on the same time as this show here. And let me know here, Mr. Scott Awesome. I don't know if you are here. I'm going to do something here. Now, did I get louder? Did I get louder? Because I adjusted something right there. So if you would let me know if I got louder just now. Because I was kind of curious what that volume level adjusted, if that volume control adjusts the overall volume, like my voice and everything else on the episode, or if that just adjusts the volume of the music I was playing. I got a feeling it's the overall volume right there, and Rumble Studio's not it's not what's the word I'm looking for here, not technologically advanced enough to give you like separate volume controls for like music clips and video clips and all that stuff right there. But I don't know, maybe someday. They're working on it. Rumble is like a babe in someone's arms right there. It's new, okay, and they're gonna keep coming out with new improvements and that kind of thing. So you got to give Rumble it's new and that kind of thing. I didn't notice a difference in my volume. Okay, all right, there you go. I appreciate you letting me know there, Mr. Scott Awesome, who is indeed very awesome and named Scott. There you go. So he's true to his name there for sure. So, all right, let's do this here real quick, and I want to make sure I've got everything good to go over here as we I should just play one of these clips here just to have some fun.
And I got news for you. That means you're gay.
I like that. I dig that. I like that. There you go. All right, let's see here real quick. I want to make sure I got everything going on here, because I run a tight ship over here, everybody. I run a tight ship. I just want to make sure I got everything good to go. Here we go. Nope, there we go. None of that right there. So, yeah, it's going to be like this for like the next couple of episodes as I'm figuring out Rumble Studio and all that stuff. And then, after the next couple of episodes, man, I'm going to be so good at this. I'm going to be like a ninja assassin at Rumble Studio over here. You're going to be like, whoa, I'm kind of like slightly sexually aroused at how good you are at Rumble Studio there. So I love it right there. Absolutely. And hey, we got Lindy Rig 87 rating the stream right there. There you go. I like it. I dig that shit right there. That deserves that. There you go. Welcome to Movies Merica, everybody coming on in here and gracing us with the presence. Love that right there. And I think they were playing some Minecraft there just now right there. They getting into that. And the Minecraft. I would play Minecraft, but my brain is too scrambled, and my attention's has too much attention deficit disorder and all that stuff right there. But my attention is never too disorderly to appreciate a good rating right there. But it's I don't know if it's a panty raid or what. So, but we will see. I'm almost like yo.
Oh no! What happened? Oh no! How terrible! That's just awful! How terrible! Oh no!
We've been raided. Oh no! It's so bad. Oh, I don't know. What am I supposed to do? Ay. Yeah, let's see that right there. But let's do this here real quick. I'll check something out here. And no, I think we're good to go. I'm, Lindy Rig 87. Just when you guys are rating here, I'm about to wrap this biatch up here and all that stuff. But I do want to appreciate. I do want to thank everybody for checking this out live, particularly since I'm playing injured and I'm like I got half the energy I typically would have and all that stuff. And my mind is thinking about Michigan, playing in March Madness right now. It's I apologize. You are not getting full strength. The Death Star is not at full operational power quite yet. Okay, so there you go. But that will change in the upcoming episodes and all that stuff. So don't judge me off this episode alone. Okay, there you go. If you're a newbie or anything like that. So, so with that, everybody, get out there, people. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. See ya.
Hey guys, don't leave the video quite yet. Okay, I've got the popo. They're coming after me, and I don't have much time to tell you, but you need to like and subscribe this video right here down below. It's right down there. It's just waiting. It's waiting for you down there, okay? And make sure you watch these videos over here too. You'll be doing me a big favor. I'm gonna be in handcuffs pretty soon. All right, thanks for watching.